Hi, Dana Campbell here. I am delighted to be able to introduce Jake Mangus today. He's the president and CEO of the Reading Chamber of Commerce, has been since 2016. And in that time, they have grown to serve 1,175 business members. That's pretty huge. Well done, Jake. He's also the CEO of the Chamber's 501c3, the Forward Reading Foundation. And its main cause is the Reading City Identity Project. So let's see, he's also, because he has nothing else to do, the president of the Rotary Club of Reading, and obviously is a very busy man these days. He and his wife, Janet, have been married for 15 years and have 3 kids, Joe, who's 19, Kobe, who's 10, and Sienna, who's 7. And I happen to know, because I stalk well on social media, that Kobe recently had a birthday and the Reading Police Department did a drive-by for him for his birthday. What a cool idea. I love that concept. So Jake, we would love to hear from you at this time, but I think first Mark's gonna step in for a minute.
Yeah, you know, Jake, you didn't tell us about the most important thing, right? So the most important thing is that Jake holds a national high school baseball record, and there's a poll on the screen right now. What do you think the record is that Jake holds? Is it 2 consecutive perfect games pitched? Is it 2 grand slams in 1 inning? Is it 8 stolen bases in a single game, or 8 base hits in a single game? I can't believe it, Jake. Yeah, you wouldn't bring that up in your bio.
I know, it's a shocker. It is a shocker.
It is a shocker. Well, I see the polling going there. It looks like 8 hits in a single game is leading. But Jake, why don't you tell us what that record is?
Okay, hold on. I got to get my prop, I guess.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Have a glove and ball nearby. Well, it was the spring of 1998. And Mercy High School was playing against Bishop Quinn, and I was playing for Mercy. And I hit 2 grand slams in the first inning of that game. And I can remember the umpire, the second time I came up in the inning with the bases loaded again, and he goes, "You could do it again." And the count went to 3-0, and the pitch came in across the letters, and I had the take sign from my coach. And thank goodness he called it a strike, because the next was let her rip, and I happened to hit it out, and that was pretty awesome.
It was pretty awesome. I mean, there's not very many people that can say they hold a national high school baseball record. Congratulations on that.
That was a surprise.
All right, Jake, you can share your screen and it is all yours.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Mark. Appreciate the opportunity to be here with you. And I got on DACDB and had an opportunity to look at hold on a second. We had this, of course, all set up beforehand, so I've got to find my my Rotary presentation wherever it took off to on me. That's funny that it was all set up before, I promise. Let me see.
Redmond's Law.
It is. That's it.
It worked perfectly fine 15 minutes ago.
It was fine 15 minutes ago. Okay, hold on. I am going to find this. I am going to stop screen sharing and I am going to find it. Okay. Okay, I got it.
All right.
I promise.
Okay. Take it away.
Now it's opening. Okay, now I'm going to screen share. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here with you. I was looking around on the list of your current Rotarians, and I recognize a lot of the names, and I have to mention that my dad does say hello to all of you, and he misses coming down and being a part of your meetings. Years ago, when I worked at Northern Valley Catholic Social Service, I came as a visiting Rotarian and guest of Bob Michaels, the late Bob Michaels, who was a part of your club for many years. I have to mention that in addition to Mercy High School and having a lot of friends from the Chico area, I actually was born in Chico and spent a couple of years there before moving up to Reading with my parents because the TV station moved out up to Reading. But I did go to Butte College and I did go to Chico State and graduated from Chico State. So I know Gail Hutchinson's with us and I had to mention that. a lot of fond memories of Chico Heat baseball from my time working at the TV station during my time at Chico State. So appreciate it a lot. So the topic of discussion today is not going to just be about navigating COVID-19. So I wanted to let you all know that. First of all, we're going to start with some of the good stuff. Now, as a former resident of Chico, downtown Chico, and Melanie Bassett's worked there. She's done a wonderful job. I've had meetings with her in the past and trying to emulate some of the programs that happen in that exemplary part of the community. Reading is on its way to redeveloping its own downtown. Our downtown is being transformed right now through a lot of investment, public and private. So I'm just going to show you some images of some of the things that are in progress right now, and some are very close to finishing. Others are still in the construction process right now. That's a downtown Reading sign that's part of the Chamber's Reading City Identity Project, and that'll be on the corner of Tehama and Market Street in the near future. This is called Market Center. Market Center is next to us here at the Chamber downtown, Market Street in between Butte and Yuba Street. This is all the former downtown mall redevelopment process that's happening right now. We had that Main Street USA kind of a feel that many communities did. And then back in the late 60s, early 70s, as Interstate 5 went through town and a lot of the commerce moved across the river to the east side of our community, some business people thought it'd be a good idea to put a roof on a number of blocks downtown and create a controlled temperature for people to shop. And that worked for a while, but then it ended up kind of going downhill. So my life growing up here in the 80s and 90s, the downtown mall has been kind of a sad story. So to be around and have some influence in this transformation at the Chamber is really meaningful to me on a personal level as well as a professional level. So this building you see right here actually is a mixed use project. It has about 80 plus units, plus or minus units of housing in the top 3 floors, and then the bottom floor commercial. And that's going to be fully occupied by the end of October. They've received more than 300 applications for the 80 units. I'm just going through these quickly. There are a lot more things I could say about them. So this is a privately funded project called Placer Heights at the corner of Pine and Placer Street in downtown. This is developed by Brent Weaver. Again, mixed use. That seems to be the name of the game these days. It helps to diversify and limit risk for investors. So the top 2 stories, 16 units of housing. The bottom story will be a restaurant. And I talked to Brent Weaver, the developer, and he said they are still on target to go forward with the restaurant even at this time, which is very encouraging. What you see here is called the Bike Depot. This is a McConnell Foundation, City of Reading project, and it will actually be right on what is going to be called the Dieselhorst to Downtown Cycling and Pedestrian Path. That is connecting our world-class Sacramento River Trail with downtown Reading. They've always been close to one another, but it's been a bit precarious on a bicycle or walking to get from one to the other. So we think this is going to be good in connecting recreation with commerce. Just a quick shot of our courthouse project. Unlike Butte County, where Oroville is the county seat, Reading's the county seat here. So we have our Justice Department right in the middle of our downtown. For better or worse, in this case, we are seeing nearly a $200 million new courthouse being constructed just a few blocks from where I sit right now. So that's created a lot of jobs, and it will give quite a facelift to that part of our downtown. This one is the Block 7 project. It will be renamed something in the near future, but I mentioned the McConnell Foundation earlier. That's a private foundation that has invested an enormous amount of money into the local community, started by Carl and Leah McConnell years ago. It's grown. I think their total assets now are north of $500 million. They have a philanthropic side and they have an investment side. This is the investment side. They've made their next 10 years of focus downtown Reading. And what you've seen is all of these organizations coming together and creating this amazing synergy around improving our downtown. When we sent out our surveys for the Reading City Identity Project a couple years ago, we asked people to send us ideas as to things they'd like to see improved. the top two areas of emphasis or opportunity zones, you could say. One is downtown Reading, and the other would be our Sacramento River waterfront right through the middle of town, better utilizing that. So this is otherwise known as the California Street Parking Garage redevelopment. Some of you will be familiar with downtown Reading, and you've seen this swath of concrete that goes for, you know, a couple city blocks. Well, that's all been demolished, and in its place will be something like you see right here. Multi-level parking structure, mixed-use space, getting people to live downtown is part of that community vitality story for us. So that's just a quick snapshot on downtown Reading redevelopment. There's a lot of other things. There are a lot of other things happening across the city that we are very excited about at the Chamber, but I wanted to focus on that just because of time. So then we get into our response to COVID-19, and I hope Katie Toma's with us today, because my heart goes out to you and what you've had to deal with, as I have, as leaders of chambers of commerce. We carry big burdens for the business community on our shoulders. We also know that it helps to refocus us as chambers and what we should be doing to help the business community to be successful. We are, after all, conveners of leaders and influencers, catalysts for business growth, and champions for a stronger community. And you have a great leader at your chamber in Chico. But in a lot of ways, we are Sherpas for business. We're leading businesses ahead in maybe, you know, into uncharted territory. And we've helped them through the COVID time as best we can, through this Roadmap to Recovery Advisory Committee that the County of Shasta started. And I represented the business community on that. We had a nice subcommittee of 30 representatives, different business types, created those best practices, toolkits, guiding principles to help ensure that our business community could operate as long as possible. We were excited about the local variance that we were granted, as Butte County was as well. And then we know that that changed in recent times, not just with being on a monitor list in Butte County, but because of the governor making a broad stroke approach for certain industries, inside dining and so on, no matter what the numbers looked like. So that's been a tough thing for us to deal with. And I can touch on that in a little bit, but I'll stick to my script, I guess. The Rapid Recovery Program was a quick pivot, and that is a word of the year for 2020 for business, pivoting quickly as a result of the changing landscape that we're dealing with. It was our effort to say, look, we want you to trust that we are going to be the source for information. We're going to come alongside you, and we're going to guide you and help you at this time. So phase one was connecting businesses to capital. That's what we knew that they needed based upon our outreach to each one of them. So PPP loans, working with banking partners like the one that's right behind me. This is Christy Davis from Golden Valley Bank. That Golden Valley's been a wonderful support of the chamber. You could find your president if you'd like for this endorsement, but we're very grateful to have their growing presence in Reading and Shasta County. Umbrella Alley is the project you see behind me there, and Golden Valley helped to make that happen. PPP loans, we are familiar with those. I won't go into too much detail there, but working with our banking partners and connecting businesses with the loans and going through that process was a great function of the chamber. Economic injury disaster loans and working with the SBDC, as well as a local stimulus package. I reached out to the city of Reading and our city council, and I said, don't forget about business. When you consider investing CARES Act money, when you consider what you might do to help us to bounce back, make sure that we're part of that equation. As a result, we worked alongside the city. They created basically a $40 million local stimulus utilizing Reading Electric Utilities, local control, and offering rebates on utilities and so on. I know Joe Wilson is with us, and PG&E has been doing some similar things as well. Phase two, Smart Business Resource Center, SBDC Shasta College, that's their business training center, and Reading Chamber University. Those have been great tools in connecting businesses, again, with more of that longer term access to low cost employees, staffing, offsetting staffing costs, training that's available based upon the new normal, if we say it that way. Let's just say the era in which we live right now and work. Managing remote teams and things like that. We've done some wonderful trainings on that through our Reading Chamber University. Another big victory for us at the chamber has been the development of a micro enterprise relief grant program. It started with a discussion with the city of Reading, where they said, we've come up with about $700,000 in community development block grant money. And we think we can devote that to economic development purposes. So how about if we segment this out into $5,000 grants that feature or focus on businesses that did not receive a Paycheck Protection Program loan, did not receive an economic injury disaster loan from the SBA at this current time. So you could reach those 5 or fewer employees, the mom and pop shops that may have fallen through the floorboards, get them a $5,000 shot in the arm and help them through this challenging time. And that's worked out really well, because I said, well, if Reading's willing to play, then maybe Anderson, maybe the city of Shasta Lake, maybe the county of Shasta would also have similar resources, and they do. So now we have $1.1 million available to grant to these businesses. And we're learning a lot along the way, trying to be as flexible as we can in getting the funds to the businesses. We've received about 60 completed applications at this time, so that would be a value of $300,000 of that money that's available. And we're going to continue to push this out until every dollar has been committed. That is our goal. Why has the chamber grown so much? This really helped us. So the asterisk, right, that goes by that number that was mentioned earlier, we've grown by about 300 members during the COVID time because we offered a free 1-year membership to the chamber. It can be dangerous to do that because sometimes you can say it's devaluing your organization by offering free memberships. Well, our opinion was that this is a time when the business community needs to come together. So let's remove that barrier, because these are, unique times when people are watching every dollar leaving their business. And let's just bring them in so we can connect them with these resources like the grants, like the stimulus funds, like all of the other resources we have in our rapid recovery program. And it's worked. And what's exciting about it for me is that I look at the businesses that have joined, and, a good portion of them may not be able to renew in a year, but a lot of them will be presented with that opportunity. Well, they'll all be presented with the opportunity. And I think that a lot of them maybe would not have given us a shot if not for this. So we have this time to earn that renewal. And I think that we'll be able to get that. So this came to an end in the middle of June. And since then we have had, about 15 businesses join the chamber as paying members. So people are still willing to invest. And I think this is really our time to shine as business advocacy organizations to prove our worth to the business community. I am so proud of the work that we've done, and it's been very purposeful. So I think people have recognized that, and it's been very good. We have gained partnership investment that we had not had before. So far so good from that standpoint with the chamber itself. I wanted to share this picture. So again, I mentioned that Reading City Identity Project before, which is part of our Forward Reading Foundation, that 501c3, that's the sister organization of the Reading Chamber of Commerce. And it's a project-based organization, so the funds we receive pass through to fund the projects. There aren't any salaries taken or anything like that. This is the Umbrella Alley project, and it's in the heart of downtown. If you considered all of those developments that you saw at the beginning of this presentation, or filibuster is what it feels like, that would be like the meat and potatoes of what's going on in downtown. These projects are kind of like the icing on the cake or the dessert, and they're really fun. So again, they're not the chamber's ideas. They're actually coming from the community. We had 800 ideas pitched to us by people in the community. We narrowed it down through our board to a top 20. And this is one of those top 20 ideas. And it's essentially 3 metal archways that have cabling that spans 100 feet all the way from one end to the other. And there are about 170 colorful umbrellas hanging from these cables. So Reading summers are warm, we know that. This is a chance to walk under some colorful shade as you go from maybe the Cascade Theater to dinner or vice versa. And as we go forward and we have to replace the umbrellas because they'll be facing the heat and the rain and the wind, we already have businesses and individuals that have raised their hands and said, we love to help you replace those as needed. So maybe in the COVID environment, not as much going to the movie theater or going to the theater to see a show downtown, but in the future, that will be the case. And we just see this as something that I think is a gift to the community. And it's one of many that we're bringing at this time. So that concludes my presentation on the Reading Chamber of Commerce and a couple of the things we're working on right now and helping to navigate helping businesses to navigate through COVID-19 and just helping the community at large, trying to be a positive attitude center for people as well. Feel that energy that it's not all bad. There's a lot that's happening that's very positive, and not all businesses are suffering right now, and that's a good thing too. But we focus on those that are suffering. And maybe a final note, Mark, is that being nimble and adjusting is a big thing for us. I signed on with a statewide coalition of chambers of commerce and the California Restaurant Association, presenting the governor with a 3-point plan for a safe long-term reopening of businesses as an alternative to just the broad stroke, let's close everybody down until we have a vaccine, which is kind of the message we're getting. And then on the local level, we just established a Greater Reading Area Restaurant Coalition, getting those people together to talk about their common challenges and their opportunities. Just like you mentioned in downtown Chico, Melanie Bassett, with the infrastructure being put in for outdoor dining to happen in a safe fashion. Reading's looking at those things as well, and we're articulating those messages, communicating them from the city people to the business owners so they know what to do. And that's been really nice to see how we rally during these challenging times. So thanks again.
All right, great. Thank you, Jake. We have a little bit of time here if anybody wants to unmute their mic and ask Jake a question.
Do you want me to end my screen share?
I don't think we need to. Yeah, I guess we need to do that. Yep.
Okay.
All right, questions for Jake.
I have a question. This is Katie.
Hey, Katie.
Where am I? Hi, Jake. Fantastic.
Nice to see you.
Hey, I have a question for you on those small grants that you're doing.
Yes.
That's over $1 million. That's a ton of money. So are you finding that you have a lot of businesses up there that didn't qualify for PPP or the EIDL grants?
That's a great question. What we're finding is that it's taking a lot to communicate the message into the community itself. As you know, I'm sure the smaller businesses especially sometimes raise an eyebrow when they're presented with these opportunities, thinking there must be a catch, or there are some hoops that businesses have to jump through to qualify and to be considered for the grants. So we're working through that right now. I would say probably the greatest challenge for us right now is having 4 different funding sources and 3 different, I guess, 4 different partners and 3 different funding sources would be the way to put it. And each one has different guidelines. So we actually brought on someone on contract to project manage this for us on the inside so we can dot every I and cross every T. I think there's flexibility in how the funds can ultimately be distributed. So right now our goal is to reach the businesses that haven't received the PPP or the SBA loans. But if our application numbers don't increase fast enough, then we're going to look at other ways to open it up. Right now you have to be a for-profit business. So if we allowed nonprofits to also apply, then that would also likely increase the number of applications. This is a countywide effort, but we know that when you get into the more rural, remote parts of the county, it can be hard to communicate the message when you're farther away from there. So getting into Bernie and Fall River, for example, is one of our efforts right now too.
Well, congratulations. That's a great program. And I got to tell you that I think that the city of Reading got 2.5 times the amount of COVID funding than the city of Chico. For
really?
whatever reason. Yeah. So yay, Reading.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
But this is, that's our, normally we don't participate in government contract work, but this is just a very exceptional time. So we feel like we are a great natural partner for them. So.
All right, great. Thanks, Katie, for the question, and thanks, Jake. I think sometimes those of us in Chico forget that you guys lost about 1,000 homes in the car fire just months before the campfire in Paradise, and you've had a lot of recovering to do too, and you're doing a great job with that. And I really appreciate being a partner with you up there in Reading. So thanks again, Jake. And we are going to make a contribution in your name to the Rotary Centennial Park here in Chico. So
Thank you. That means a lot. And thanks for mentioning the car fire too. As we've been doing these economic snapshot presentations with Golden Valley Bank in our community, it's been a saving grace for us to see that construction continues and residential starts are going gangbusters. And a lot of it's because they've got 10 years of housing inventory to rebuild still as a result of the car fire. And to reciprocate that, the campfire, I mean, the car fire pales in comparison to the devastation of the campfire. And so Monica Nolan, who runs the Paradise Chamber, she's a friend as well. And I'm just, hopeful for what the future could hold there, but knowing that has changed that landscape significantly.
All right, thanks again, Jake.
Yep.
I'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks a lot.